with you, the reason 500 of us, coward, gutless pieces of shit, signed a letter about you is because you were okay with the race riots. Yeah, I fucking was, right? Somebody said, they set fire.
Attacking police stations, burning businesses, attacking police officers, lynching people and attacking mosques.
Mate, I would burn an entire town. I would burn this country to the ground if somebody had threatened my daughter. Let me just tell you.
Almost immediately there were claims that the alleged killer in Southport was a migrant that had come off a boat. There was almost a desperation. There was a desire for whoever did this to be a Muslim.
Mate.
And when it was revealed, in fact, he was a British Christian kid, there was a rapid attempt to reorientate it about this kid being black. Apparently he's from a Rwandan background, and the speed with which it was redirected. But they forget that a man of colour went in to try and save those girls, one of whom also was from a migrant background, as I understand it. And then 2 days later, in the same country, down the road, still in North England, you have black people and Muslims being lynched, actually lynched, like it's the American South. We're definitely seeing something like it was in the 1970s when the National Front were on the street and Asians, black people being beaten up on the street. There's definitely an echo of that.
Oh shit, man, they're in. They're in. There's a lot.
But I was watching it, and I was watching these men, and obviously it's a dramatisation, but I was just thinking about my own grandfather and men that came before us and fought. And I just thought, who are those men now? Like, who would my grandfather, who got on that boat, and when he was on that boat, the men that weren't coming home knew they weren't coming home. And I guess I still have the memory, and I got that first story told by my grandfather to me. So it's a very real story for me. It's not a picture, it's not a book. It's not some testimony that I've read somewhere about some account of something. It's a really real story. And I just thought, who are those men? Well, they're the men that went out and got arrested for fighting and causing a riot. And I'm not saying that all of them were not criminal, and I'm not saying all of them were great people at all. They're the men that would be cannon fodder, right?
This isn't our fucking neighborhood, it's a battlefield. We're on a battlefield tonight.
So we just have to try and step back sometimes and see things with a really broad focus. The only reason hundreds and thousands of girls across this country were raped and tortured was because we didn't care enough about the girls to stop it.
I see this shit going on and I don't see anybody doing anything about it. And it fucking pisses me off. So look around you. This isn't our fucking neighborhood, it's a battlefield. We're on a battlefield tonight.
The men that weren't coming home knew they weren't coming home.
Make a decision. Are we gonna stand on the sidelines, quietly standing there while our country gets raped? Are we gonna ante up and do something about it? Yeah! You're goddamn right we are.
Now, what's interesting is that I think there was a legitimate argument to say that, like, these ties hadn't been solidified or hadn't made their way into the actual Let Women Speak organising when the Let Women Speak Australia National Tour happened. Otherwise, people wouldn't have been involved. And it was very telling. Like, when they were speaking in Melbourne, there's the thing where they're like, you know, most of us are here from the left wing, and everyone, like, cheers. Yeah, that was crucially important. And so, yeah, she gets up and she's like, we're from all sides of politics and none, all religions and none. And now she can't say that because she is specifically targeting the religion of Muslim women. So she's not embracing all religions equally. And she's increasingly coming from an undeniably right-wing perspective. Like, when you're literally saying, I'm pro-race riot and I'm pro-politically motivated arson. And not only that, but I'm using the Let Women Speak platform to specifically promote these views. Like, these aren't just my personal views. These are now positions that Let Women Speak is taking. Like, that sounds pretty far right to me. And so with this Moira court case where it was very important for Moira to get found innocent, and I think she should have, not innocent, but like be found in favor of, be absolved through. And not just Moira, but the whole movement. So it was important, yeah, not just to Moira, but to gender criticalness across Australia. The whole scene was on the edge of their seats watching that court case. Now, if it didn't matter whether she was far right or not, then why were we on the edge of our seats? And the thing is, after also announcing that she probably won't retire after winning this campaign, as she originally said that she would, you know, all that, oh, this is the last thing I want to do. I wish I could just go back to my ordinary life. But I have to because I'm a hero. That, you know, it's not just her that does that. A lot of people do that. Kelly J. Keane is talking about coming back to Australia again, but we're going to be in a situation where a lot of women from Australia are going to be going to these events under the assumption that the Let Women Speak that they're attending now is the same Let Women Speak as was when it first toured, and that is a lie. And if people were like, well, I wouldn't have been associated with Kelly J. Keane if she was an obvious far-right lunatic, I can't see how you can't look at pro-race riots and pro-arson and achieving your political goals through street violence carried out by groups of armed men as being right-wing and extremist. So, one thing about the way that Kelly J. Keane has started to promote arson as a tool for political change is very similar to the kind of fervor that swept the anti-corporate globalization movement in the 1990s over the property destruction at Seattle. And there were like there's a song, I forget who did it, but like the chorus is essentially about like, I'm an anarchist and I supported smashing the Starbucks windows, and that makes me cool. But you don't support that because you're a dumb liberal, man. And that's how property destruction started to become, that's when that was sort of first popularized in the kind of late 90s, early 2000s. That was like the first point where the black bloc had moved from, it had previously just been a European phenomenon, and then this was the first time like Americans had picked it up. So a lot of the stuff that you see with sort of Black Lives Matter and the trans movement, they're kind of the politics and the like strategies and tactics like go back to that point, and they've sort of been, you know, refining them as they've been getting more postmodernly psychotic politically. So it seems as though like burning down migrant hotels has become the right-wing version of smashing a Starbucks window.
I would burn an entire town.
I can't find it at the moment, but there's a really Rage Against the Machine-y Kelly J. Keane quote where she's like, oh yeah, there was footage of guys just running Muslim preachers off the street. Like, they weren't doing anything, they just set up their little table and these guys came and smashed everything and like chased them away. And Kelly J. Keane's response was like, basically, sometimes violence is all the oppressed think they can use. It's like, oh yeah, does that only apply in England? It doesn't apply in Gaza? Dun 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 dun. I would burn an entire town. Dun 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 dun. I would burn an entire town. Dun 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 dun. And like, you could legitimately make the argument that smashing the window of an empty Starbucks is non-violent property destruction. I think you would quickly lose that argument, but you could begin to make it. But you can't make the argument that burning down a building that had hundreds of people inside it is a non-violent action. But nonetheless, these people are crazy, so they have taken this up as their tactic de jour. Back when I was at Flying Gender, I came across this video.
Look, go in, yeah? You'll be burned out tomorrow, you gang of black bastards. Look. No, we won't come out. Look at this. Look, go in, yeah? You'll be burned out tomorrow, you gang of black bastards.
Yeah. So she's saying that to women, she's saying that to women and people who are holding children. So they really liked that it happened during the riot. There was like hundreds of people who surrounded it and cheered on the people who were setting fire to the building and fighting with the people inside it. And now they want to use that image to terrorize other asylum seekers, and not just the bad boogeyman man asylum seekers, but women and children. And Kelly J. Keane and Let Women Speak are supposed to stand for all women. And then this article comes out by SBS News, which is a state broadcaster essentially in Australia. And it reads, Islamophobic attacks in Australia double, reaching crisis levels, report finds. Muslim women and girls were targeted in 60% of physical assaults, 79% of verbal assaults, and all spitting incidents, a new report suggests. Women accounting for 75% of all victims. Muslim women are having their hijabs pulled off and spat on. Muslim school children are being targeted. Someone called a Muslim school and said they were coming to the school with a knife to specifically target the schoolgirls that wore a hijab. Muslim women and girls also experienced distressing verbal insults and threats. Those nearly 200 verbal insults included threats of murder and rape.
You'll be burned out tomorrow, you gang of black bastards.
And these incidents include verbal intimidation, discrimination, physical assault, property damage, non-verbal intimidation, written intimidation, and the leaving of bombs. And then there's this. The report also shared stories of people who have been impacted by Islamophobia, including a mother of 5 who was allegedly assaulted in a shopping centre. I was sitting in the food court in the shopping centre with my 5 kids when an unknown lady yelled out, "Fuck Muslims,"
Gang of black bastards.
and punched me in my head, knocking me out in front of my kids. A woman's complaint quoted in the report states, I was admitted to hospital where a CT scan showed my nose was broken. Me and my kids are seeing a psychologist for the trauma as my kids are very much traumatized. We don't leave the house unless it's necessary as we fear that it will happen again. So for all Kelly J. Keane's fretting about Muslim women being afraid to leave the house, she's actually specifically creating those conditions. She's politically devoted to making the problem worse.
Shine light to the thorns on their faces, say a prayer to the Lord.